Tommy was a little boy who loved bedtime stories. His mom would read him tales of daring adventures in faraway lands until his eyes grew droopy and it was easy for him to go to sleep. But Tommy's favorite story was always the very last one. It was a tale about the Moonbeam Fairy. Now, every night before Tommy's mom would read the story, she would tuck Tommy in all safe and cozy inside his bed. And as she did, Tommy would peek out the window at the big, round moon hanging like a giant lantern in the night sky. "Oh, no," he would say, shivering under the covers. "The moon is so big and bright." He gasped in amazement. The moon wasn't just a big ball of cheese after all. It was a whole other world. The Moonbeam Fairy smiled. "It is, isn't it?" she said. "The moon is a wonderful place. There's so much to explore here, so much to discover." She turned to Tommy and asked, "Do you want to stay and play with me and my friends?" The surface was covered in soft, white fur, and Tommy could see all sorts of funny-looking moon creatures playing and frolicking all over it. But then he remembered his mom. He wondered if she was worried about him. "Well, that sounds like a wonderful adventure, but it's important to remember where you are and who you're with. I was really worried when I saw you'd gone missing." "I thought maybe you'd gotten lost or hurt yourself," Tommy nodded. "I know, Mom. I'm sorry. I won't do it again." He wondered if she was looking all over for him. She picked up Tommy's favorite stuffed animal, a little lamb that had a torn ear and one button eye. She was smiling and making funny faces, and Tommy couldn't help but laugh. The Moonbeam Fairy was right. Nighttime wasn't something to be afraid of. It was a time for magic and wonder. "Why don't we go sit by the window and look at the moon together?" she said. Every night before bed, Tommy would say, "Thank you, moon, for watching over me. Thank you for keeping me safe." And he knew the moon was listening because every morning when he woke up, he could feel the warmth of the sun on his face and the soft glow of the moon inside his heart. Tommy's face lit up with joy. He loved spending time with his mom, especially when they looked at the moon. It wasn't scary anymore. It was a reminder of all the fun he had with the Moonbeam Fairy and her friends. A wave of guilt washed over him, and he realized he did have to go home. Some of them were bouncing up and down on pogo sticks. Others were sliding down the long, curved lines that stretched across the moon's surface like roller coasters. It didn't seem as big or bright as it did before. "Tommy," she said, her voice full of relief, "I was so worried when you didn't come downstairs for dinner. Where have you been?" Tommy hugged his mom tight. "I'm sorry, Mom," he said. "I didn't mean to worry you. I just went on an adventure." He told his mom everything that had happened, about the Moonbeam Fairy and the moon creatures and all the fun he had. In fact, it looked kind of small and far away. Tommy smiled. All his fear and worry seemed silly now. The moon wasn't scary at all. It was just a big ball of cheese in the sky. And nighttime wasn't something to be afraid of. It was a time for fun and adventure. And some were even having a picnic, eating moon cheese and drinking moon milk. "What if it shines right through my window and sees me sleeping?" He didn't want to go anywhere. But the Moonbeam Fairy waved her magic wand, and suddenly Tommy felt a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. All his worries seemed to melt away. "Come with me," the Moonbeam Fairy said, extending her hand. "I promise you'll have fun. I wish I could stay forever and play with you all, but I have to go home now. My mom must be looking all over for me." The Moonbeam Fairy placed a comforting hand on Tommy's shoulder. "Don't worry," she said. "You can visit us anytime you want. All you have to do is close your eyes, make a wish, and I'll come and take you away." She waved her magic wand and suddenly Tommy was back in his room. Hesitantly, Tommy tugged the fairy's hand, and the next thing he knew, they were soaring through the night sky. "What if it watches me while I dream?" His mom would always laugh and say, "Don't be silly, Tommy. The moon is just a big ball of cheese up in the sky. It doesn't watch you or anyone else. It's just there for us to enjoy. Now, snuggle down under your blankets. It's time for your story." But even as Tommy listened to his mom's soothing voice reading about the Moonbeam Fairy, he couldn't help but feel scared. You see, Tommy was afraid of the dark. He was afraid of what might be hiding in the shadows. He peeked outside and saw a tiny, shimmering figure standing on his windowsill. It was a Moonbeam Fairy. Her wings sparkled like 1,000 tiny stars, and her dress was made of the softest moonlight. "Tommy," she said in a voice like tinkling bells, "I've come to take you on an adventure." And most of all, he was afraid of the moon. Oh, how he wished the moon would disappear at night, leaving only stars twinkling in the darkness. That way, he wouldn't have to worry about being watched while he slept. One night, as Tommy was getting ready for bed, he heard a gentle tap, tap, tapping coming from his window. At first, Tommy wanted to refuse. As they flew, the moon grew larger and larger until it filled Tommy's entire view. "Wow!" Tommy whispered, his fear completely forgotten. "This place is amazing." Tommy thought about it for a moment. He really wanted to stay and have fun on the moon. "Oh," he said, feeling a little sad. He looked out the window and saw the moon hanging in the night sky like a giant lantern. Just then, Tommy's mom walked into his room. His mom listened patiently, and when Tommy was done, she said, then Tommy's mom did something that made him very happy. As Tommy snuggled next to his mom, he looked out the window and saw a tiny, shimmering figure waving at him from the moon. It was a Moonbeam Fairy, and from that night on, Tommy wasn't afraid of the dark anymore. He wasn't afraid of the moon. In fact, he loved it. The end.